Alright y'all, we back with another video. So today we are going to be doing a Miwa showcase. So as you know, Miwa did get finally a new character, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really disappointed with this character from what I've seen. Obviously we're going to be showcasing her and kind of, showing off what she can do as usual. So we're going to be doing the same formula that we normally do. I know I didn't do it for Gojo hidden inventory, but I am going to be doing it for, moving forward. At least I'll try to. It's going to be, of course, the normal team and then a nuke team. Right, so that's usually what we go with here. So let's actually talk about what Miwa does, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people, especially the ones who don't really obviously read Japanese, are going to want to know what she does and how she will play into this current meta. So Miwa's going to have kind of very similar to all the other Miwas, like literally the counter gimmick. So her gameplay is going to be revolving around, countering and her stances. And then of course counters can nullify single target attacks, because that's how every counter in this game works, making it very effective in certain circumstances when you are combining it with taunting, right? So a boss is going to constantly be doing single target attacks, and if you have a taunt memory, that's going to allow her to draw all the attacks to her to be able to counter them and do damage to them, right? Obviously the best memory for her is probably going to be the one that came in her banner, which increases damage when in the counter state, right? And of course it does increase your taijutsu, but there's obviously going to be certain circumstances where you're definitely going to want to taunt a lot more, and you're probably going to use a memory that can taunt the enemies. Now, she does have a, I guess, mechanic, right, where it's called the sword draw counter, and it's going to be the same as the blue Miwa, but it's significantly better when you compare it to the blue Miwa. Like, she can stack more than blue Miwa, and it receives more buffs that are way better overall. And then, of course, her being able to stack them and then the counters stay permanently makes it easy to accumulate them. And then as you ramp up and you start getting all these extra buffs and bonuses, because you're ramping up all those counters, you're going to be dealing more damage, and then you'll permanently have them literally until the end of the fight, which just makes her more consistent and better than a lot of other characters, because there is a ceiling that you can hit that can make her really good. Now, of course, like I mentioned earlier, her true potential is during like mid game. So like when you're going to be using her is mainly in fights that are going to be drawn out, right? Because of course she has to build up these sword draw counts, and when it reaches 10 at least, right, her skills gets additional effects and become stronger, which allow her to deal more, makes her play better, right? So she'll have a base default level, but then once you start reaching up to those like certain breakpoints, she's gonna start ramping up very quickly, and she's gonna start dishing out way more damage than normally. On top of that, she is going to have a new mechanic. Now, this mechanic that I'm going to be referring to is actually going to be a mechanic that is going to be on all Miwas. It is going to be the simple domain effect, and this is going to reduce curse damage and nullify continuous effects of domain expansions, right? Now, normally when I do a showcase of a character, I kind of go into depth with what each of their skills do and everything, but I won't be doing that with this Miwa, just because one big reason: she has a wall of text on practically everything, and she has 4 passives, so it's quite a lot to actually talk about. So I'm just going to give you an overall summary and briefly kind of explain her rotations and her gameplay with this kind of character. So I'll just give you an example. So at the start of battle, Miwa's very weak, right? And you're going to want to accumulate your sword draw counters as fast as possible, and the best way to do this is by utilizing your skill 1, and your skill 1 gives you 3 counters when you're in the counter stance. So you want to make sure you're in your counter stance, so that way you can use your skill 1 frequently. So then in order for you to do that, you have to use your skill 2 and a taunt memory, so that way you're able to taunt them. So that's basically how you're going to start off your rotation. You're going to use your skill 2, taunt them, right? They're going to be attacking you, you're going to have the counter as well, right? Then you're going to use your skill 1. You're going to be in the counter state, so that means you are allowed to get 3 stacks, right? 3 stacks of her, sword draw counters or whatever, which is going to allow her to start ramping it up quickly. Then you use your skill 2 again, then you'll have the counter again, and then you go back into your skill 1. So then once you do that, you're going to keep repeating this. Once you reach 10 counters, so that's going to be roughly around turn 5, you'll mainly be spamming either skill 2 for AoE or skill 3 for single target. Both will give you kind of like counter stance regardless, but skill 3 is usually better, as you'll be stacking sword draw counters faster. Her biggest cons is she can only taunt from her ult, and that obviously depreciates her overall value, because she's supposed to be a counter unit, and her taunt is only 1 time for 1 turn. So if you're fighting versus multiple enemies, she's not going to function that well. Now that we're done with that, let's actually talk about the teams that we're going to be using with this character, and then we'll kind of go over it a little bit. All right, so we have the first team. So this is going to be a team where it's going to be revolving around the Kyoto students. And you're obviously going to be getting bonuses based on how many Kyoto students you have, etc. So that's going to be the main goal with this team. Now, her best partners are probably going to have to be Rare Ichiji and SR Mai. The reason for this is because Rare Ichiji perfectly synergizes with Miwa, as he provides, like, you know, physical buffs for her, so she can do more damage. Damage decrease, so you take less damage, and then you also have ult recharge. That being able to, of course, charge her ults faster and rapidly will allow her to, you know, obviously taunt the enemies more frequently and all that good stuff. I kind of talked about this over a little bit earlier. And of course, having physical damage buffs is good for her because she's a physical damage character. Damage decrease will be nice because then you'll have survivability, especially for her too. Now we're gonna have SR Mai. So now people are like, wow, SR Mai, isn't she like one of the worst like SR characters in the game? It's because you didn't really have a good use for her. Now you do. And it's going to be like the craziest thing that people really weren't even thinking about with this character. So SR Mai is a Kyoto student, and she can enter the conceal status, which increases the chance of Miwa getting attacked by targets, right? So basically what that means is now you have a higher chance of your Miwa actually getting attacked, because you're going to have less characters essentially getting attacked. Because, you know, once you're in the conceal status, which is stealth, you're not going to be chosen as a target. You increase your chances of getting hit, basically, since you have less characters to actually target. Now, she also has a huge taijutsu multiplier on the same skill, right? And can follow up on attacks. So being able to follow up is going to be a very good addition for Miwa, who's going to be countering and all that good stuff. And then other than that, you know, there's one more thing to talk about. Now, obviously, you're probably like thinking about this Kyoto team. Yes, in the future, we are going to be getting, you know, SSR Kokichi, which is basically Mekamaru, right? That's how he's calls himself. And he's going to be releasing next week, and he's most likely going to be like one of the best additions for Miwa, just because they're both going to be Kyoto students. So he might work well with Miwa. We got to see, because I need to see his whole entire kit. Once I see his whole entire kit, I'll know for sure if they're going to work well together. But just based off of what we've seen from like the little bit of information they gave us, it seemed like he might be pretty good overall. So yeah, and the fact that he also has that Kyoto student buff is going to be nice too, because that means they're both going to benefit from working together, and they're both green. So if you're going into this mono green type team, you might be able to use them together and stop, you know, stages that require green characters, right? Just using both of them. Then we're going to have our Miwa Nuke team. So we're going to have Domain Megami for debuffs. We're going to have, of course, Domain Expansion Gojo for debuffs, and then we're going to have Momo for buffing, and then Miwa as our damage dealer. So yeah, anyways, without further ado, we are going to be testing them. We're probably going to be doing EX4 in story, so let's get right into it and actually showcase the character. Alright, so we're here with the Miwa showcase. Now, as you can see, we do have Mai here. Like I mentioned earlier, you're going to be constantly using your stealth. The good thing about it is that you only have to use your stealth once every like 3 turns-ish or something like that. So that way you can make sure that you're concealed, so that way you have less of a chance of getting hit. Excuse me, you have an increased chance of your Miwa getting hit, right? We're just going to use Unity straight away. Here, we're going to be using our skill 2, right? The reason we're going to use skill 2 is because we want to get into the counter stance. Then we're going to start using skill 1, because when you're in the counter stance and you use your skill 1, it's going to stack 3 sword counts, right? Sword draw counts, which is what you want, because this character ramps up with sword counts, and then of course her whole like kit gets enhanced when you have a certain amount of sword counts, right? We have the Shoko memory. This is for survivability, so we can last very long into the fight. We're going to be using, I mean, we don't necessarily need to use buffs here. I think we can kind of wait a little bit. We're just going to stall, because I want to last as long as possible, so that way we can manage to get everything we need, so we can get as much sword counts as possible. Okay, as you can see, did 50k, so it's not bad for counter damage without like really any buffs. We have the conceal up, so now our Mai is basically not going to get targeted the entire fight. We're going to use skill 1. We're going to use skill 1 here. We don't even have any buffs active, right? I think we can do 1 buff, and that should kill at least one of them. Then we'll just do a single target attack with Ichiji. Good thing is Mai can follow up, so that's nice to get a little bit of extra damage out of it. We're still concealed, so we're just going to do this. We're going to put a counter stance again. So as you can see, we have 7 sword count draws. And then we're going to normal attack. Then just get normal attack. We don't need to do anything else. Okay, so now here we just conceal ourselves again? No, I think we killed this enemy here, right? Yeah, we killed this enemy here. This enemy's dead. No need to do anything. Just attack him. Easy. Alright, so now here we conceal. We put our counter once again. From here on after, I believe after we do this counter, and then of course we do our single target, we should be able to build a lot of stacks. Right, and with those stacks, we should have the enhanced version of her skill. We're going to try to reduce some of the damage here because we're going to take a lot here. We got a counter. The good thing about Mai, though, is since she does follow-ups with everything that you do, and on top of that, she conceals herself so you don't get hit with, you know, so you have a higher chance of your Miwa getting hit. She also has the CC in her kit, too, which is very nice. So that gives her a lot of flexibility in the team. So here we can use our skill 2, and our skill 2 will attack everybody, but I think the big thing here is we're not going to be we don't want to do it because we don't want to attack everybody. We don't want to kill everybody. We want to keep building more stacks. So I think here we're just going to use more skill 1s here, right? So we're going to kill off 1. Because we are in the counter stance already. So that's going to be able to get us more sword counts. And then here we can increase that. We can do this. And we should be fine, right? And then we can use the Shoko memory after. Yeah, I just want to be really careful. Doing all this. Because I want to build up as much stacks as possible. Right? So here we're going to counter, but I think we're going to use the skill 3, because if we use the skill 2, we might kill both of them. So let's use the skill 3. This will be able to reapply counter, so we'll use it on the weaker one. Then we will buff. I believe, yeah, we should buff here, just so that way the next turn we can kill with our Miwa with one single attack. And then here we would just do this. We can use Shoko memory here. That should be fun. Okay, that's one dead. Can he stop attacking Ichiji? That would be very nice. Please. Thank you. Then we'll use our skill 1. This will remove our counter, and then we'll get 3 more sword draws. Alright. So here we're going to, of course, apply the stealth. Now, I was thinking about using my ult, but I don't have a lot of buffs active. So I think I'm going to wait a little bit, right? So I get more buffs. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use our skill 2. Then here we are going to buff. And then we're going to buff one more time with Ichiji. And we just have to pray that he doesn't get hit. Okay, so he didn't get hit. That's fine. Alright, so now we are going to just attack. I think we could just ult here, right? Yeah, we could just ult. We could just ult because they have attack ults, which means these guys are going to buff first before they attack anyways. Alright, here she goes. Pretty okay damage, right? Like, obviously, you're not going to expect a lot out of just her ult. It's mainly everything throughout her entire kit to do damage, so like counters and all that, which kind of makes her a little bit inconsistent when you're kind of playing her, because you're obviously trying to be really focused on her counters to do most of her damage. Now, since I'm in the counter state, or I believe, did I remove it? Yeah, I think no, I'm still in the counter state. There's just so many buffs on her bottom that you can't even see it. But yeah, we're just going to use skill 1 here because skill 1 will increase our sword count, and the more sword counts we have, the more ultimate charge rate that we have on this character. So you're going to see that we're rapidly going to get our ult fast very quickly. And then we can continuously keep buffing. I think what we can do with here with Ichiji is we can use the ult, right? And this will charge our ult straight away, and then we can use the memory straight after the next turn. And right here, we're just going to attack normally. Then we're going to use our skill 2. And we'll just buff with skill 2, and we'll use the memory straight away. And then she should be ult again, right? So we just had ult like literally 2 seconds ago, and now we're gonna have ult again, like literally right like back to back. We're gonna be trying to avoid dying here, so of course we're gonna conceal straight away. We're gonna ult with her again, and we're gonna buff, and then Ichiji will buff as well. Then next turn we can use Shoko, heal our team, and then we should be healthy again. And then he gets countered, and then he attacked it, and then we didn't counter, obviously, because we can only counter 1 time. Then here we can just stun, use our skill 3, then use Shoko memory with skill 2, then use Ichiji ult once again. Unfortunate that the Momo died, but that is fine. We do not need Momo at this point in time. The boss is practically dead. So let's just finish off the boss. So here we're just going to use our skill 2 because obviously we do want to get that increase. Pretty sure she still gets the increase. If she doesn't, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's right here. 2 turns. Just had to make sure. 17%. So we use skill 2. Then we'll just use his Takeda-chan's guidance. Not like we need him here. He's literally just here to die real quick. And then, of course, Miwa should be able to have ult again, just because she has that increased charge rate. Like, look at that. So, like, once you start ramping her up, she, like, that charge rate is insane. I believe it goes up to 50%, so it's like 1% for each stack. And she has 41 stacks right now, so she has 41% consistently. It's just absurd. So then you do this. Then we use ult again. Skill 2. Skill 2. And then we're about to get our ult once again. So even if he does manage to live, we could just try to CC him here. Use our skill 3. Use our skill 3 to disturb him. And then use our ult again on Ichiji. This should be able to kind of fully top off our Miwa again. Okay. Hey, Ichiji is my man. He ate that shit. That's the GOAT right there. Anyways, yeah, the fight should be practically over with this. Like, literally. He doesn't stand not one chance, bro. Rest in peace, bro. But yeah, as you can see, counter Miwa. Biggest issue with counter Miwa is how long it takes to ramp up, and then obviously the inconsistencies of when she doesn't get attacked. On top of that, she can only taunt on her ult, and the counters are usually only 1 time anyways, right? So it's very iffy. It's very iffy if you get targeted multiple times. Anyways, let's move on to the next section. All right, so we're here on the Nuking side. Now, as you can see, I'm already through the entire fight. The reason for that is because obviously the video is going to be long as it is, considering how long Miwa takes to ramp up when we were doing the normal team showcase. So here, I just kind of did you the favor and just kind of skipped through it, so that way we were at the Nuking stage. We're going to try to do as much damage as possible. We're kind of hoping here that Megami can do a break. If he can manage to do a break, then we're going to be able to do more damage because the boss will be broken. And he didn't break. Very unfortunate. Failing me every time. Shameless Megami. So as you can see, she did roughly about like what? 1.3 mil, right? Obviously the other 200k was the combo attack, but 1.3 mil. Obviously if the boss was actually broken, we would do a lot more damage. But yeah, I mean, not looking like too much. Obviously, I think they were kind of being a little bit excuse me, they were trying to be a little bit on the safe side, just because later on as she ramps up, she'll be able to use her ult every other turn. So it's like if she had too much damage on it, she would be too OP, right? All you need to do is just build the team centered around her in stalling, and then once you finish stalling enough, you're literally going to destroy everything in your path. But yeah, that's basically going to be, of course, you know, Miwa. That's going to be her nuking capabilities. Nothing crazy. The character itself really isn't built terribly. It just doesn't work in the kind of current content as it is. Kind of how, considering a lot of the tower is going to be, you know, just singular waves, nothing else. You don't have time to ramp up that much, right? Obviously she has the calendar mechanic, which helps her survive, but the calendar mechanic itself doesn't protect the rest of your team unless you're running memories to, of course, taunt the enemy. Then once you finally are wasting, you know, your time using memories to taunt the enemy, you're also losing out on damage that you could have if you had a memory that can increase your damage, right? She's really good though. She's really good when she ramps up. Super amazing. Like you getting your ult every other turn is like, that's gonna offset all the damage loss that you had. But it just takes too long and it's just not viable. I don't really like this character. She's fun to play with. I just don't like how she's not that good. So yeah, even with her all these buffs and stuff that she has in her passes and everything, it's just the fact that it takes too long. Anyways, that's basically gonna be the video. I know I was yapping a little bit, but I really like the character and how she plays. It's just she is not good. Not for me, at least. She's not good. I mean, it should be for everybody, but for me personally, she's just not good. I just don't feel like she's gonna make it a difference. Obviously, maybe I'll take it back when Mechamaru comes out, and maybe Mechamaru might be amazing together with her. But as it stands right now, she's just not good. So anyways, that's it for the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.